Assess Your Business with Business Coaching Tools GrowthWheel webinar. I'm Karen Goldner, and I will be your host. We've got, we're still waiting for a couple more people to sign on, so I think that we'll just give it another minute before we get started. Welcome. We're going to just maybe give it one more minute and then we'll get started. You are being started in mute mode, and if you have questions along the way, feel free whenever you'd like to go into the question box that you've got and just type your question. Don't worry about using the hand raising feature because that doesn't always work very well. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Again, welcome. My name is Karen Goldner, and I am one of the business advisors here at the WBDC. And we're going to be talking today about GrowthWheel, which is a toolbox for decision making for both startup and for growth companies. It helps you and your advisor get focused on business development issues, to help you set an agenda, both for working with an advisor or for just working on your own, and to get organized for working on your business rather than in your business. That helps you make better decisions and take more effective action to grow the business. GrowthWheel is a visual toolkit for conversation and for decision making, and again, it helps you and your advisors have better conversations about what you need to do next. So it's an action-focused process that stays true to the way most entrepreneurs think and work, and that's the reason we like it here at the WBDC. So today we're going to focus on a tool that helps you get a big picture, 360-degree perspective on the issues that many businesses face. That's me. Hello. So what we're going to focus on today are the four main challenges that are common to every business, regardless of whether you're starting up or growing and more mature. Within each of those challenges areas, there's 5 considerations for growth or barriers to growth that people typically face. And then we'll talk about key areas that you would need to address to move your business forward. And then the most important thing, of course, is steps to work on your identified issues. And again, we distinguish between working on the business, which is planning and thinking about how you're going to be strategic about your business growth, versus in your business, which is dealing with the day-to-day that you have to deal with. But you really need to be able to do both, and GrowthWheel is a great tool to help you work on your business. So we're going to go ahead now and do polls number 1 and 2. So if we can have poll 1 up, this will help us know a little bit more about you. This is where people are from. So it looks like most of our people so far are from the Chicagoland area. Somebody else from another part of the United States, welcome. And I think we've got maybe another person to vote, and if you'd like to do that, that would be great. So we can go ahead and close the poll. So most of you are from this region, so terrific. And let's go ahead and do poll 2 then also, please. Poll 2 is, how did you hear about this webinar? And we appreciate you taking a moment to let us know about that, because it helps us with our marketing and working on our business as well. Okay, so it looks like people heard about it from our website. Terrific. Thank you very much for providing us with that feedback. So how do you get organized, right? There's 1,000 things that you can be doing to work on your business, and how do you at any point in time decide what you need to do, and how can you avoid getting overwhelmed? And that's particularly true if you're working with one of our advisors here at the WBDC, or in the case of the person who's calling from elsewhere, a small business development center near you, because you really only have about an hour, so you can't go over every single thing that's happening. So what we like about GrowthWheel is that it helps you establish a common language for the session, and it allows you to be more prepared before you meet with your advisor, and then empowers you to do more work on your own, because obviously this is your business and you're the one who's going to make it successful. So we need to stop inertia, right? And get focused, set your agenda, and make decisions that allow you to take action. So the Growth Wheel helps you, again, getting focused. And that means obviously dealing with first things first. So we're going to show you something called a 360-degree screening tool that helps you create an overview, leading to decisions to be made, and starting dialogue with your advisor. It is being emailed to you as you join the webinar. GrowthWheel is a licensed program that we pay a license fee for, and part of our license fee is that this is not to be made available just generally on the internet. It's only for clients such as yourselves right now. So it's only available to you on the website now. So by the end of at the end of this webinar, you won't be able to access it anymore. So please download it as soon as you can and print it out. That way you have it. We're going to do polls 3 and 4 now. So we'd like to open poll 3, and that's how long you've been in business. So if you can share that with us, again, that helps us better tailor this discussion. Great. So there's kind of a spread between people who are just starting, who have gotten into the planning phase but haven't started selling very much yet, and then people who've been in business for just a few years. So that's terrific. What I like about GrowthWheel is that it's really equally valuable for any of those stages, and actually even for people who've been in business longer. So let's close that poll, and if we can open the next poll, please, poll 4. So we're going to go ahead and close that poll, poll 3, and open poll 4, please. And that has to do with if you've worked with a small business development center somewhere. I know some of you have worked with us at the WBDC because I recognize your names. But there are small business development centers across the United States. And later in the program, we'll give you a little bit of help for the person who's out of state to find an SBDC near you. These are services that are available to you at no charge, to advising services, and encourage you to take advantage of those in your own state. Okay, so the 4 challenge areas, the thing about GrowthWheel is that none of it's magic, and the 4 challenge areas that I'm going to show you in a minute are of no surprise to anybody. These are the basic areas that you need to think about for growing your business. You need an attractive business concept. You need to have a strong organization. You need to have strong and lasting customer relations, and you need to be able to operate profitably. So that's the general framework for GrowthWheel is in those 4 areas. So what does the big picture then look like? There's things that are externally focused, right? You have to have a business concept that is attractive, and you have to be able to work with and develop customers. And then there's an internal focus. There's building a strong organization and operating profitably, obviously. And then if you look at it a different way, you've got the business design focus and a business development focus. So that's kind of the technique of it. But what's valuable then is to look at more deeply the 20 focus areas which you're already working on. Sometimes you're aware that you're working on it. Sometimes you're not, but these are all issues that everybody is dealing with, and here they are. We'll go through them more in more detail in a minute, but this gives you a sense of within each of the general categories, there are 5 focus areas. So in the business concept, you'll see 5, and the colors, you know, are sort of color-coded to make things a little easier to kind of keep track of, the yellow and the green and the red and the blue areas. So how is this actually useful? So the 360 screening tool, and we'll show you that a little bit later, or maybe you've already downloaded it and have taken a look at it, again, helps you set an agenda. And as we've said, it puts structure to your conversation, gives you a common language, and then can help you brainstorm and get some new ideas. So let's go through the first section, which is the business concept. So the first area, and it's up at the top right of this, so really in the middle of the circle, is the business idea. And that has to do with decisions that relate to the mission of the company, your vision for the company, of what it could become, the story of how it came to be, and what your ambitions are, your goals for the company. I mean, do you want it to be large or small, or are you going to franchise it, or are you going to be the best coffee shop in the neighborhood? I mean, what are your vision for the company as well? And then product portfolio, going around to the left-hand side. So that's the decisions that relate to the combination of products that you have in your assortment. The product design, your value proposition that you provide to your customers for those products, and future product development. That leads obviously then to the revenue model. How do you make money? So how do you select revenue sources? How do you decide pricing? Price plans, discounts, how, if you're operating and realize that you need to raise prices, how can you do that in a way that your customers will be able to find acceptable? And then your customer portfolio. So this has to do with who your customers are, customer segments that you're going to be serving, prioritizing key customers, customizing products and communication to various segments, and then building that all-important customer pipeline. Then lastly, in the yellow business concept section, are your market, or is your market position. So that's the decisions that relate to your relations with your market players, collecting competitor information, improving the company's competitive position, and collecting market information. So those are the areas, the focus areas within the business concept category. And we're going to show in a few minutes an example of one of the worksheets that is a visual checklist that we use to give you a sense of how this process works. The one thing that I neglected to say at the beginning was this is an introductory workshop to give you an overview of this tool. And then once or twice a month, we have a webinar on a particular area. So it might be on market position, or it might be on one of the other areas. And in that webinar, go into more depth in particular areas. And then obviously, if you're working with the WBDC, and frankly most of the SBDCs in the United States, use GrowthWheel. And so we can use it with you on a one-on-one basis as well. Okay. So what do you need to decide? Let's talk about the organization for a minute. That's in the red area. And so this is how to help you establish and maintain and grow a strong organization. So the ownership and board is the set of decisions that relate to strengthening your organization on the top level. Ownership distribution, maybe selecting board members, selecting a board agenda and determining that. That may be something that you're not experienced in doing. A lot of small business owners are not. And then making a social contract between the owners and the managers. How, not only how does the ownership work, but how do people treat each other? Then the next one is your employees. And so you Obviously, as you grow, you're going to be having a lot of decisions to make about employees, recruiting, managing staff, writing job descriptions, calculating a staff cost and benefit. I mean, how can you hire an employee at a profit? Defining your organizational chart, and describing future employee profiles. Then the next red topic is partnerships. And this is decisions that relate to selecting business partnerships. Not the partnership perhaps that owns the business, but partnerships with other organizations, such as outsourcing business processes, choosing suppliers and partners, and entering into partnership agreements. And then your business processes. So this is your decisions that relate to defining business procedures, mapping business processes, designing workflow, and planning delegation. And then last but not least, of course, legal issues. So those are the decisions that relate to the legal documents that you need, selecting a legal company structure perhaps, ensuring corporate compliance with laws or regulations in your field of business, and also we have insurance that is within this category. So what are barriers to growth? People often feel like they're stalled and they're not even sure where they're at, and many of those problems have to do then with customer relations, right? So if we start in the top left of the green category, we have networking, and that's the decisions relating to networking activities, not surprising. You're mapping your networks, helping you get network introductions, use your network more effectively, and then maintaining your relationships in your network. Next then would be marketing. Your marketing activities, decisions around those activities, exploring your customer personas, and helping you really understand deeply what motivates your customers, maybe designing customer surveys, and then expressing your core marketing message. Next, sales and services. So this is designing your sales cycle and really understanding how you sell, planning your sales activities, dealing with sales objections, which often is one of the things you have to overcome, right, to make a sale, and then defining your service offerings. Now, this isn't the same as your products, but how are you going to provide service to your customers regardless of the good or service that you're selling? And then next is communication and public relations. So how do you take advantage of quote-unquote free media? Media opportunities, writing press releases, engaging in social media communication, and managing communication with your stakeholders. Who are those people, and how do you communicate effectively with them? And then last, branding. That is all decisions that relate to brand definition and brand authenticity, making it real for your customers, identifying brand role models, and then generally improving customer loyalty. So those are the components in the green customer relations section. And then last but not least, of course, operations, and this includes your financials, cash management, preparing sales forecasts, reviewing cost structure, looking into what is making your company profitable or less profitable, and then how you can improve those things. Next is funding. This is having to do with your financing options, your capital structure, preparing investor and bank information, perhaps producing an investment catalog for future investments, and doing risk analysis for your business. Next is production and deliveries. So this would be your inventory management, troubleshooting production or workflow problems, optimizing resources through reduction of waste, right, being more profitable, managing your logistics systems of product and service delivery. And then your IT systems. So this would be your software applications and services, working with IT, whether it's third parties or internal, optimizing your business processes, and making sure you've got a good fit for your IT systems in terms of how that helps your business grow. And then facilities, your location selection, changing or decisions that have to do with changes to production capacity, perhaps, facilities design, and also building and maintaining a knowledge library so that you can help support your employees and yourself in growing the business. So those are the 20 focus areas that GrowthWheel covers. So here you go again. This shows you the whole thing. And you look at all those things and think, well, yeah, that's pretty much everything, but what the heck does that mean I do next? I can't do all of those things. That's right. That is the problem. You can't do it all. So how do you start? And this 360 screening tool is a terrific vehicle to do that. So what you want to do is well, we'll get to that in a minute, sorry, but I want to show you an example of one of the worksheets as well. So this is what the 360 screening tool does. It has all of the 20 focus areas. And again, the point of this whole set of tools, is to make decisions that lead to action. And so we're going to show a worksheet in just a second that can help you make decisions faster and help you identify questions and some alternatives to make you think, to give you a little bit of trigger for your thinking, and then focusing those decisions specific to the issues that you're concerned about. So here is one of the worksheets. And again, I would encourage you to download it and print it out during this webinar, because it won't be available afterwards. This is from the business concept section, the upper left quadrant of the circle, and it has to do with the business idea. And if you are perhaps struggling with articulating what your business is about, this is particularly true at the concept stage, but it can also be true if you're in the process of shifting from one kind of business or set of products or set of customers to another. This can be a tool to help you do that. So you'll see how you can just jot down some notes that then help you later write it out. And again, this might be something that you would use yourself. It might be something that you would use in the conversation with an advisor. So this is a pretty typical format for the worksheets that we use in GrowthWheel, although obviously each one looks different depending on the specifics of the issues and the focus areas that we're doing. Okay. So that's the whole point of it, is to do first things first. And let's go back to the 360 form. And again, this is what all look like. And we're going to go back to the 360 tool right now. There we go. So there's, I mean, you can do whatever you want to with this. But there's 3 ways that it's kind of suggested that this can be super helpful. So the first is to assess your progress. What are you missing? And if you look in the circle, you see 5 kind of boxes all the way around in the different rings. And so you're going to rate things on a 1 to 5, and 5 is terrific, and 1 is maybe a problem, or even maybe a 0. So you're going to give yourself a 1 to 5 on each of these areas: business idea, product portfolio, etc., all the way around the circle, in terms of how you feel like you're doing. So perhaps you maybe feel like your ownership is fine, right? Right now you own the business yourself, you don't need to worry about that. So that would be a 5. You don't have any employees and you don't think you need any right now, so that would be fine. But as you go around the circle, perhaps you've got some challenges in sales and service, right? So maybe that's a 1 or a 2. And you're not particularly comfortable with networking, so maybe that's a 1 or a 2. So you would rate yourself on all of these things, and the ones where you would rate yourself lower could be where you might want to focus on. What I usually tell people is only do it on a 1 to 4 scale, and then you always have that 5 to go back to because you might end up with 6 or 7 areas where you feel like you need to work on, and this way you can go back in and kind of select the top 2 or 3. You don't want to have more than that because you just, again, you need to be able to focus. So another way to do this, in addition to diagnosing challenges, is to map opportunities. So we've done the barriers to growth and the challenges, so mapping opportunities. What is something that if you worked on in the next 2 weeks could really be valuable? Maybe you have the opportunity for a partnership that has come up out of the blue from a potential supplier who's expressed a lot of interest in working with you, perhaps on an exclusive or something that's hot right now. You may have a problem that is particularly urgent. Maybe you've got a revenue model problem, that you've just got pricing issues that you need to deal with right away. So what are your immediate things to focus on? Again, you do this on a kind of a 1 to 5, and that helps you identify, well, I don't need to worry about my IT systems right now or my facilities, but I really do need to worry about my financial situation, or I'm trying to get a loan right now, and so I need to focus on funding. That's another way to use this tool. Opportunities for growth. And then last but not least, rating your skills individually. So this really has more to do with what you feel comfortable with and what you would like to learn more about. So maybe you feel like your skills on the business concept side are great. You're real comfortable with that. But you'd like to learn more about how to sell, or maybe how to evaluate your financial position, and you look at the financials for your business and they're just not meaningful to you, and you want to be able to figure out, well, what should I be getting from this information, and how do I want to learn more about this? Or maybe you're at a point where you feel like, people keep talking about these different software programs that I should be using, and I just don't really understand any of them, and so that might be an area that you would want to focus some attention on. So it really has more to do with your skills. As I said, you can use this however you want, and so it may be that if you've got an employee, you might want to use this in the same way for them. So those are, what I have found is a lot of people who do feel overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, I just don't even know what to do next, that this can be a terrific tool, and in 5 minutes of just kind of going around each of the focus areas of the circle, you can identify, okay, this is what I really need to focus on right now. So that's evaluating the competencies right there. Again, the key thing is to get from 1 to 3 areas to focus on, because if you have more than 3, you're not focusing, right? So that's not beneficial. So, not to repeat myself, but if you haven't already done it, download the tool now, and because you won't be able to get it later, and then use it to prioritize the top 2 or 3 that you want to work on. That's the way that you can get some real benefit from this webinar, is to actually start putting the tool to work for you. If you're a startup or emerging business here in Illinois, which some of you are, you can make an appointment to see myself, Karen Goldner, or Meg Herman, who is our Director of Entrepreneurial Services here at the Women's Business Development Center. And if you have been here in business for more than 2 or 3 years, you can make an appointment to see myself or Meg, or also Jamie Neely, who is one of our established business advisors. Now, there's for the person who is outside of the Chicago, Illinois area, you can go to sba.gov and just type in your state. It's a super easy way to find a small business development center near you, and I would encourage you to do that. As I said, most states use the GrowthWheel tool in their SBDC network. So what are your next steps? Working with a certified GrowthWheel advisor, such as Meg or myself, you can determine which tools you may want to work through, to break through to the next level and help you overcome the challenges that you are facing based on what you've prioritized. You can work through this 360 tool on your own, and also the business idea worksheet that was shown earlier. You can also just go to growthwheel.com and see the variety of tools. As I said, it's a proprietary software program, so you won't be able to actually access them, but you can at least see what's there. And certainly, working with a certified GrowthWheel advisor, we can help you identify tools that might be valuable to you. So let's close with with the last two polls. So we're going to have poll 5, if you can pop that up, please. So we are interested in finding out, it looks like people still have a couple more people to vote, please. So it does look like we've got some people who are interested in using these tools either on a webinar or in person or themselves, so that's terrific. And we can close that poll and go on to the last poll, please. And we asked this question because we have some specific services focused on child care, certainly for our veterans of the military, and we do have a program here in the Women's Business Development Center that's based in Aurora, Illinois, just west of the city. So, okay, it looks like none of you are in that category, so we can go ahead and close that poll, but thank you for letting us know. So, again, the GrowthWheel set of tools is really designed around helping you save time and empower your, helping advisors empower you, right? Because it's really about benefiting you as the entrepreneur. It establishes an instant common language in an advisory session, which saves time and helps move the discussion forward. You can prepare before you meet, and you are able to do more on your own, following up on and implementing in some of the decisions that we discuss. Do you have any questions? If anybody has questions, please go ahead and pop them into the question box. Oh, and that's me. So if you call, you can see me in living person. Okay. Well, it doesn't look like there's any questions, and I really appreciate everybody's time. I do encourage you again to give us a call at the number there if you're in the Chicagoland area, and also continue to check our website for the next GrowthWheel webinars. The next one is going to be on lead generation, which is a super important topic, and that's going to be on December 17th, so you can register for that on our website. Thank you all very much for joining us, and everybody have a nice afternoon.